Welcome, as this evening we perform our patriotic duty and bring you episode 196 of the Campus Comics Cast. This is Scott Reed, and I am voting Rogers Wilson 2028, and I am joined on this episode by
Mike Atchison, who is voting Earp in Holiday 2028.
And Shaad Schubert, who's voting Stay at Home in My Home Tucked Away in the Woods, just reading and ignoring people completely 2028.
and that might be the winner. But it is now time for the November 2024 edition of Previews and Pre-Orders, and may be a short episode. Based on our pre-recording conversation. So, because I'm looking at the Lunar catalog, and I don't have anything until we get to DC. So, does anybody have anything prior to DC in the Lunar catalog?
Well, I do, if my calculations are correct here.
Okay.
I have under CEX, The First Americans. Now, this is a resolicit, because you might ask, how do I know that? Because normally I wouldn't. I don't remember stuff like that. But I happened to buy this thing a couple of months ago, and I've read it. And I just want to say it was one of those issues. Well, it's basically The First Americans is by Christopher Rita and Tad Galusha, and chapter 1's The Bering Strait. It sounds like one of these comics that's going to come out sporadically, but it's chronicling the migration of the human race from Asia to the Americas over the Bering Strait 14,000 years ago at the end of the last ice age. And what I found to be sort of just uncanny is that it told the story without any dialogue. They really didn't presume that there was a verbal language at that time, or if they did, they didn't try to modify it to fit 21st century English. But it told the story really well with just the art. The art's really good, and if you like anything about natural history and prehistoric stuff, it's got a lot of cool pictures of mammoths and things like that, and it's just interesting in that way. Now, it's a quick read basically because it's just pretty pictures telling a story, but I wanted to bring that up because I can tell you firsthand that I enjoyed it because I bought it a few months ago.
So you bought this actual first issue a few months ago?
I did. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And was it CEX Publishing then also?
Well,
or does it have a new publisher?
That's a good question. I wouldn't remember that.
Okay. I apologize for putting you on the spot.
I assumed that it was. I see it also has the sub heading of critical entertainment. Maybe it was under that alone before. I just know the book, and of course I didn't get it out to look, but it's yeah, whoever it came out from then or now, I'd say it's worth a look at if you like that kind of thing. And
right.
For $5, it's kind of a nice thing to look at.
All right, Shaad, you got anything for DC?
Just to point out for anybody that does enjoy the Wrong Earth series, which we did enjoy at least the first volume of it. The volume 3 entitled Dead Ringers is solicited. This is collecting the two stories, We Could Be Heroes, which was a 2-issue series, and then Dead Ringers, which was a 5-issue series. And it was just a nice reminder that I need to read volume 2 of Wrong Earth, because I enjoyed that first volume quite a bit.
Yeah.
So
I've got that whole
DC also.
Mike, you were saying?
I think I said this last time, I've got that whole, every single Wrong Earth book, spin-off, whatever I've been reading some of them, and I jump onto some other things, but I'm in the process of doing a complete read-through.
Oh, nice.
Well, my first thing in DC is not till page 52, so whatever you have in DC before 52, go right ahead.
Let's see here. Go ahead. Sorry, Shaad.
Not in the book, but I just wanted to point out the announcement that Vertigo is coming back. And it's not in this one, so I'm assuming that it's going to be in the December DC Connect. There was an announcement that the Nice House by the Sea will be the flagship title. That is already in like 6 issues into it. But I'm guessing they're going to, I don't know if they're going to reprint or if they're just going to make it Vertigo here on out, and then the trade will be labeled as Vertigo. But that and then Nice House by the Lake is going to get reissued with a Vertigo title under it. I called it. I mean, who wants Vertigo really to go away?
Yeah.
It didn't make any sense. I don't know why they tried to change it.
Yeah.
But 52 is good
so
on
now you got Vertigo. It's they really for people that really considered the Black Label to be the replacement. It's not really, because Black Label was really superhero stories, whereas Vertigo wasn't traditionally superhero based or superhero oriented. So I think there's room for both categories in this medium. So I too am glad to see it come back. Yeah. I've got Justice League Unlimited on page 1 in the DC catalog, and then page 45 in the big Lunar catalog. Justice League Unlimited 3. I'm just bringing this up because I haven't even read the first one, because I don't have the first one yet. But it's continuing the idea that this is just a free for all as far as membership. I've actually seen in some of the other DC books, like Flash and Green Arrow, that I've read, this month's, what's come out this month, and there's scenes in the new Watchtower satellite. And there's just, you might run into Swamp Thing and Fire and Ice walking down the hallways of the satellite. It's kind of interesting. I really kind of is more so than seeing Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, which you're going to see the Trinity all the time. I'm interested in these characters you don't see often. You've got both of the Adams, both Ray Palmer, the original Adam. Well, I shouldn't say original because that would be Al Pratt from the Golden Age, but the Silver Age Adam, Ray Palmer, with a new uniform even, which the jury's out for me on whether I like it. As long as he's got the exposed ears, and he does, so that's cool. And the Ryan Choi with the little shield over his eyes. That's kind of unique to him. I like that. And you're going to have Captain Atom, and there we'll see later on in this catalog that they've got their own little sub-story that's going on that spins off into its own, I don't know if it's a one-shot or a mini-series, but I think it's called the Atom Project. But, so, again, I think it's me speaking out of anticipation more than anything. I can't really put anything a finer point on it than that.
Have any of the Absolute first issues come out yet?
Yes.
Okay. Have you read any of them, Mike?
No, I didn't get the Superman one because I couldn't deal with the hair in the one eye look. It's like the lead singer from the band Rat, and I can't do it. The Batman is almost as bad. He's like a Bane-sized Bruce Wayne, but I've been hearing good things about that. So I
was at Cape over the weekend, and I had multiple people ask about Absolute Batman. So I'm wondering if there's something there.
I enjoyed it. I read the Absolute Batman. That was the only one I've read, but I thought it was a
Shaad.
I know. Look at me.
Wow.
Yeah, man, going all.
I apologize for excluding you on asking about Absolute.
Going all mainstream on us, Shaad. What the heck? Man, he sold out to the man.
That's right.
I know. I was curious.
No, I think I'll read it this weekend, though, or this week. Yeah. Yeah.
But there wasn't anything that I could tell you like, oh, this happened, but
yeah, I would think that of the three, the only one that I'd really was possibly excited about would have been Absolute Wonder Woman. Well, on page 52, we have Aquaman #1, written by Jeremy Adams. So this is one of those Arthur's Curry's powers have evolved to new heights. So, but he's back, I guess, to being the king of Atlantis. So, I don't know, Aquaman fans, unite because you now have another Aquaman book, also in the whole all-in storyline. So,
I have thoughts on this if you want to hear them.
go
But
right ahead. I would love to hear them.
Okay, so I'm not a big John Timms fan. I think I think he's a good artist, but I don't like his style. I don't like the real angular drawing style. But what bothers me the most, I think, is that by all appearances, Aquaman has now developed Mera-like powers where he can actually control the water. And to me, it's like, I mean, what else do you need? You're going to steal your wife's power now to make yourself more interesting? I mean, I speak as if Aquaman's a real person, but maybe this is to Jeremy Adams. But I'm not too much of a fan of this change in powers, this evolution. Maybe there's a good story behind it. I don't know. But
I tell you, I'll give you my opinion on your supposition there, Mike. Is they are trying to diminish. I always say Mera.
Because of the actress.
Because of the actress.
Well, that's pitiful. That's really pitiful if that's the case. But that's probably true. Same reason because of the stigma of the name Karen, they changed Power Girl's alter ego from Karen Starr to what, Paige? I'm like, yeah. So if that's the case, this is starting off negative. I need to turn things around here a bit. Shaad, you were starting to say something, but you faded out.
Oh, my internet was getting a little wild. I didn't have much to say about Absolute Batman, just that it was interesting. I thought it was pretty action oriented, and he looks like he's a giant brute, and so you get kind of that side of the action and the crime fighting in that. But I'm interested enough to probably pick up issue 2.
Okay. Well, I know you went to Aquaman, Scott, but I do want to mention real quick that there is the Batman 608 facsimile on page 4, which is also in the big catalog. It's page 46. And I just want to mention I remember picking this up, in 2002, 1? I don't know. And we're thinking, finally, somebody made Batman's boots have a tread so he could have some traction. And how his boot is so much in the foreground, the sole of his boot, and it's. I remember thinking how cool of a picture it was, and they did that. So I'm not picking this up or anything because I got the original, but it really brought some realism to Batman, I thought.
I am, unless there's something catches my eye as I am, scrolling through. I am done with DC. So whatever you two have for DC, go right ahead.
Well, you've got the aforementioned Justice League, the Atom Project, is on page 55. And now this is written by John Ridley. He's a very good writer. The art's by Mike Perkins. And like I said, I don't know if this is an ongoing. Well, it won't be an ongoing, I'm sure. But it's either a one-shot or maybe a short mini. But it's all tied to the Absolute Power on the heels of it, and it involves another story tied to the Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah, I have had this one flagged. It's kind of advertised as a spy thriller, and not knowing anything about the Absolute Power kind of storyline, but just knowing their whole goal is to restore power to the supers that evidently lost their powers after that event. Maybe it even seems like they're trying to get power back to people who may not even want it anymore. It seems like an interesting little idea, especially if it's just a little mini series. It'd probably be pretty good considering John Ridley writing.
Yeah, and I think Captain Atom might be one of the characters that doesn't really want that power back. He's yeah. So yeah, that's a. I think that's got a good premise to it. My next thing is I'm looking for it in the big book. It's DC Power, and it is the return of the Power Company. It's called DC Power: Rise of the Power Company #1 by there's a few different writers, and it's basically it's a reimagining of the early 2000s, maybe it's the late 90s Power Company with the set of characters this time that are concentrating their efforts on the underprivileged black and brown communities in the DC universe. And they'll have characters like Duke from the Batman family, and looks like Vixen and Cyborg and the Green Lantern, that her name is escaping me right now, but
Joe
Mulleen or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mullen or so I, you know, yeah, I'm interested in this because I remember that Power Company. Kurt Busiek, I think, wrote that, and I kind of enjoyed it. Josiah Power is the lead character, so he's the only returning character from the original series.
That's on page 73 in the Lunar Catalog, page 29 in the DC catalog.
Thank you. Yep.
You're welcome. Happy to help, Mike. That's all I can do for the rest of DC is just try to point out page numbers or something. So,
Shaad, do you have any more
Nope.
in DC? Or
I'm all done on DC. I'm into Image at this point.
Okay, just a couple more. One's well, actually, two of both facsimiles. One's the Brave and the Bold #29, and I bring that up because I've got a copy of this. It's the second appearance of the Justice League, but my copy is like a .5. It's pretty rough, and man, I wish I could get a better copy, and I may just buy the facsimile just to pretend that it is the original as a placeholder. And then on the next page, that was on page 76 in the big catalog. Page 77 in the big catalog also collects the Untold Legend of the Batman, which was a 3-issue series back in the late 70s by Len Wein and Jim Aparo. And it told, if I recall, it was sort of an alternate take, or maybe some just untold, well, as the title implies, it's untold stories of the origin of Batman and Robin and things like that. And I remember this cover with Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. That cover is one that stands out in my memory for all time for me. So I think I'm going to get this collection, even though it's a small collection. It's only like $13. So, and that's everything for me in DC.
okay, so let's see. I don't have anything until Oni Press on page 224.
Whoa!
So like I said, this catalog is so light for me. Yeah. So,
Yikes.
so you guys can keep going.
All right, 148 is my next one, Mike.
Let's see. You go ahead. I'm at 154.
Okay. 148 is The Seasons #1, and this is a new book written by Rick Remender with Paul Azaceta. I always mess up his name. And Matthew Mateus Lopez. And this is a story about these Season sisters, which I feel like if you looked in my archive of like story ideas that I've never written, I feel like I had this idea of having 4 siblings that were named after the seasons as well. But it's a horror story that kind of circled around their missing parents. And them going to find them. They've got it's kind of this ominous kind of, they are falling victim to sinister forces is what it says. My favorite is that it's perfect for fans of boundary breaking horror. So they're really saying like, this is going to be, we're going out pretty far. I doubt it'll be boundary breaking, but I like a lot of what Rick Remender writes, and Azaceta's artwork from the couple books that I've read were pretty good as well. So it looks weird, it looks creepy. I'm into it. I'll read issue 1 for sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what the art reminds me of. I mean, it's that character that you see, the main character with
Yes.
sort of the I don't know, it's a cross between a China doll and a clown.
Right. Yeah.
But it's kind of walks, got really long legs, and it reminds me of an Oz character. It definitely has that weird factor that I could see I didn't mark it, but now hearing you talk about it, I like Remender enough that I could see myself picking it up just to see what that first issue brings. It's a
Hmm.
series, so it's going to be ongoing, but
Yeah.
yeah. Well, maybe after that first issue, you have to shoot me a
I will.
text and tell me what you think.
I'll let you know.
Okay.
Um,
154.
okay. Go ahead.
And it's speaking of Oz,
Uh-huh.
this is the Patchwork Girl of Oz #1. And it's a ongoing series. It's fantasy, it's humorous, its tagline is Return to the Land of Oz, in this new comic adaptation of L. Frank Baum's classic novel The Patchwork Girl of Oz. Perfect for the fans of Young and Strom's Twig, which I don't know. But it had just enough that it looks like a book that I could maybe share with my granddaughters, and we all three enjoy, at least the
Mm.
oldest one and me. I don't know. So that I'm going to pick it up and just see if it's got that sort of that magic from the Land of Oz.
Yeah. I'm.
That Twig was a Scotty Young
Yeah.
project.
What was?
Twig
Oh,
was a
was it? Oh, okay.
Scotty Young.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah, it was awesome. Twig was was very much a travel story that was. It reminded me a lot of like very Dark Crystal inspired or just Jim Henson inspired for sure. And
Oh,
so, but it was a really cool book. Anything Oz, Oz adaptations, I'm 100% a yes for. I mean, Scotty Young's adaptation of the Oz books was fantastic. So to get into another Oz book, I'm definitely picking this one up as well.
you're going to be at 156 next, aren't you?
No, I'm not. I'm at 159.
No. Oh, I thought for sure you'd talk about Blood Train, the one
Blood
shot,
Train.
because it's straight horror action, science fiction. But I'm not gonna. I didn't really prepare to read anything about it, but it's a one shot, so it's who's Adam Glass, Bernard Chang. I know both of them.
Hmm.
But you go ahead with 159.
There is another
Oh,
train book that is a horror related that I'll talk about here in a second. But no,
okay.
on 159, I've never read Ice Cream Man before. I honestly just found out within like the last month that it's a horror book. I had no idea that it was a spooky book. I didn't know what it was, but I definitely didn't think it was
Oh,
that. But this is issue 43, and what is unique about this one is it is all one-page horror stories. I'm really curious to see how they pull this off to just get one page to do it, but they've got Grant Morrison writing a page. They got Jeff Johns. They got Jeff Lemire, just to name a few of them. But I was like, I think I own digitally like the first couple volumes of Ice Cream Man, and this might be the carrot that's dangling in front of my face to be like, start reading it, because at 143 you're gonna get a weird bunch of one-page horror stories, which is kind of cool.
yeah, that one page format is interesting. I remember if you look at an old book like a Golden Age or something from the 50s, a lot of times they'd stick in those one page humor quick
Yeah.
stories, just a little gag deal. And that's something I haven't seen anything like that in years, whether it be humor or, otherwise.
Right. Yeah, and it
So I
takes so much to
overshot.
build up horror. That's what I think is most interesting. Is like humor,
Yeah.
you can tell a joke in like a couple lines, but like
Yeah.
a scare, like how do you build up that anticipation for scare in just one, or creepy or whatever in just one page?
Right. Well, I did overshoot. I misread my page number, but on page 157, you got the Horizon Experiment Finders Keepers, a one shot by Vita Ayala, and the art by Skylar Patridge. And it, the premise sounds pretty cool. It's a sort of a action adventure, but It's what they're calling a Puerto Rican reverse Indiana Jones. So basically, the main character steals from museums and returns artifacts back to their native cultures, which it's kind of got a neat social commentary that you see stories about that once in a while these days. You know, the British Museum of History may have something that belongs to or that was taken from Egypt without necessarily getting full permission for it. So uh, I kind of like this kind of an idea, and I think it's inspired by maybe recent events in the world.
I want to point out a clever thing on page 162. We have a complete collection of Chew, but it's
Yeah.
not an
Uh-huh.
omnibus, it's a nomnibus. Nom nom nom.
Ah,
So that's funny.
well, I had you down on my list, Scott.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to steal that
No, you
from you,
didn't.
Mike.
Yeah, I didn't even notice the nomnibus. I just, I marked it down because, we reviewed this on one of our episodes. I think it was a roadshow episode, but the three of us reviewed the first trade of Chew.
Hmm.
And, it's by John Layman, and I'm seeing his name more and more. He's always been, I mean, he's been around for a while, but I'm seeing him more and more. And Rob Guillory is very well established as well. I like his artwork, and I know that as we usually do, we go, well, we like this. We're going to keep reading it, but I never did. So now maybe I have an excuse to because it's collected here in this Nomnibus edition.
I did make it through at least like 3 or 4 volumes. I can't remember how far though. So
Yeah.
on 164, there's also this is a book I mentioned in one of our last what we've been reading, Falling in Love on the Path to Hell. So we have the first volume, which just covers the first 4 issues, written by Jerry Dugan. I have not gotten past the first issue yet, so this might be something for me to consider picking up if I want to read issues 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
I'm not until
I'm a,
205.
I've got something on 188, which is under Ghost Machine. Sorry, I'm trying to scroll down here. Ghost Machine, which is put out, I mean, now it's being printed and issued by Image, but Redcoat #9, I just want to mention this is the one book out of all of those connected, unnamed characters and stories, and they're all interwoven along with um, Geiger and the GI, not the GI Combat, but the what's the Junkyard Joe.
There you
But
go. Yeah.
but this is the one I'm enjoying the most, and basically he's immortal now. He doesn't want to be. He's not really a hero. He's kind of like a John Constantine character, very sort of amoral, but he does have some glimmer of appeal to him. But his interactions with a young Albert Einstein was some of the best part of the story, and this was like in the late 1800s. So it's cool because it kind of weaves the story through the centuries, and it's just there's a lot of I mean when you have that much to choose from for a setting for a time period, there's a lot can be done, and I think it's well done. That's all for me on Image.
Same. On to
Shad, you said you were
yeah,
205, right?
205. Yep. This is from Mad Cave. It's this is the train book. This is Kill Train #1, and this just sounds like a movie pitch for probably could be a series. This is the next Purge, if you will. It is random subway trains are selected to have all the passengers slaughtered to control the population in New York City, set into the very near future when there's been a population boom and they've figured out a way to control it, which is to just kill a random subway train every once in a while. And so this is a 5-issue series focusing on Vanessa, who is a single mom who is on the train that gets selected to be killed. So it seems as though this series will be her trying to, I'm assuming, fight for her survival. I don't know how efficient their killing is going to be. If it's going to go 5 issues, she's probably going to be able to fight whoever is slaughtering them instead of just like putting gas into the, I don't know, we could get pretty morbid, I guess, with how they could make this kill train more efficient, but but I thought it was an interesting premise and something that was just like, this sounds like a bad horror movie that could happen for sure.
I see it's got cover A's by Skylar Patridge. Mentioned her earlier. I like her art.
Mm-hmm. And
But you know what? They better be careful on that population control. If they overdo it, they won't have any young people to pay into Social Security.
This is true, yeah. This is true. My next one's on 224.
That's where I'm at.
I'm at 221. And as I furiously scroll...
You're not going to talk about Willie Nelson, are you?
For Shaad, I am. For Shaad. This is for Shaad. This is a Willie Nelson graphic novel by NBM. Never heard of this before, but it was mainly I just marked it down to see if Shaad noticed it.
I did.
You know,
I did.
Yeah.
He is Willie Nelson's never been. I've tried to get into him, but he's never been one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Shaad, I would have never picked this for you because I would never have suspected Willie Nelson to be in your wheelhouse.
I like some old country
for
sure, but Willie Nelson is not one of the ones that makes the cut.
Yeah, you and my wife should talk because she can't stand him. I mean, if one of his songs comes on the radio, it's immediate finger to the button, changing the dial.
I don't even think
no,
I'm not
an
necessarily about it.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan necessarily. I gotta admit the guy is pretty long lived, but
yeah,
I'm not a huge fan or anything.
Right.
I just, again, it's music oriented, so
absolutely, you got to bring it up. Yeah, it's required.
Yeah.
Scott, you want to take
page 224? Yeah, I'll take it. So page 224 from Oni Press / EC Comics. We have Cruel Kingdom #1. This is going to be a 4-issue series in the EC Comics line that has been brought back by said Oni Press, and this is going to be their first dark fantasy stories. So tales of wizardry and witchcraft. So some of the creators, I'm not Al Ewing and Greg Pak I'm familiar with. Not some Chris Condon. What's he done?
He is the writer now on Green Arrow. He's done some other stuff. I'm not necessarily. I can't say much about him. I don't have enough, history with him to say whether he's good or bad.
Okay.
But I did notice in the
wrote
recent
That Texas Blood. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and he also did that. The Enfield gang murders or something. It was
that's him.
Some. Yeah.
Another Western.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So, Shaad, you want to add anything else about that book?
No, that was about it. The only other thing I'd add to it is the cover is really neat for this. Is a robot as the king with a floating crown above his head, and so I'm curious what they're going to do with this. I'm not a big dark fantasy person, but it could be neat.
Yeah,
could be.
250 is my last thing in this book.
I have nothing else in the book, and it's just something catches my attention. So go 250.
All right, 250 is from Z2 Comics. This is Growing Up Farley, if anybody's a Chris Farley fan, which I am for sure. A kid growing up in the 90s watching Saturday Night Live, there was definitely a Chris Farley presence in my household. This is Kevin Farley is co-writing this book, who is Chris's brother. And I've seen Kevin stand up before in his telling stories of Chris. So I thought, this is probably pretty good and gets more in depth and more of those kinds of stories, and in comic book form, so that you don't have to read a bunch of words. You can look at pictures too.
Hot dog.
All right, so that's it for Lunar. We ready for Marvel?
I think so.
Yeah. Yes, I'm ready for Marvel.
All right, so page 2 of Marvel, we have Deadpool Wolverine #1. I guess this is an ongoing. Do they say anything about issue numbers? So it's ongoing until it's not. I feel like this is about 2 or 3 months too late.
Okay, so we have an issue here, I think. I looked at the one that came in through my link on my email through JUMAG, and it is linked to an old issue, which included that Wolverine Deadpool. That's it seems like the whole catalog looks old, because I got the physical catalog from a shop, and it has none of that stuff in it. So
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I have the wrong one.
I do have the correct one. I know for sure.
Okay. Well, is the cover the What If Fantastic Four?
no.
Or I guess that would be the page one.
Yeah,
not
Ultimate
the
Wolverine is the cover.
Cover. Oh, so I have the wrong one.
It's issue
It
38.
says it's November. Well, I don't have an issue number because I'm just going digital.
Wait, you have issue 38, Shaad?
Yeah.
Well, I don't remember New
Oh, my
Champions
gosh.
though from past months. Was New Champions?
No,
in this
New
cover?
Champions
Or
is
in
a
this
new
comic?
book. Yeah. New Champions is new.
It is. Okay. All right. So I do have the right one then, right?
I don't.
Okay.
I,
Okay, you don't.
I'm just
All
now
right.
looking at the one they gave me at the comic shop is October.
October. Yeah. Okay.
Ah,
Yeah.
jeez.
And the Fantastic Four thing is probably the inside front
Yes,
cover because they don't put
you're
the
right.
covers on the digital one for some reason or another.
Depends
so.
on
So
what
the-
digital copy you get, because mine does have the cover, but it's not
Really?
from Jumag. So
Okay. Okay, so I just get the one from Jumag.
So we are okay.
Okay.
Okay. So should I use the one from Jumag?
Yes,
All right.
it should be okay.
as long as Ultimate
Yes.
Wolverine is the next book that's solicited, you should be safe.
Yeah, and actually, I got mine from the Previews website. Previews World is where I'm at. So.
And I got mine from
So while Mike's
Okay.
getting that, why don't you go ahead and I'm not going to be ordering the Deadpool Wolverine book, but I suspect somebody out there will want it. So, and then my next thing's not till page 10. So anything before 10,
Nope, 10 was my next one too.
okay, I'll let you talk about it since I talked about Deadpool.
Well, mine was
Wolverine.
more of a question: is this truly new heroes? Like, if so, I'm into this. I feel like that's a good jumping on point for someone who wants to try Marvel stuff but doesn't know a lot about things.
I am not for sure. I suspect there will probably be one or two characters at least that are existing characters because there's so many of them that are being featured, and they only talk about a few, like Hydra, Scarlet Witch's mysterious protege, a cursed roller derby jammer, and a Wakandan runaway. But some of them look familiar, but it primarily looks like sidekicks or legacy type characters to me.
Okay.
So I don't know that they're all going to be new, but I suspect most of them are probably new.
There might not be a
if
lot
not,
of
if not all of
there
them.
might not be a lot of
Yeah.
history that needs to be known or offshoots happening connected to it at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, again, where they're basically tying everybody to somebody else, though. They got Hydra tied to Scarlet
Right,
Witch.
yeah.
They got a Wakandan runaway, which is going to be somehow tied to Black Panther.
Yeah, it looks like they've got a
the Cult of Hela, so that's going to be some Asgardian stuff. So it's going to have
some legacy to it, but not.
yeah, but it feels like, I mean, it's almost like Strange Academy, just
Yeah.
not with the mystical characters. So where you do get at least several new characters.
Okay, I might have to
So.
try it out.
Yeah, so it is. There definitely will be some new characters in this book, which is reason why I was mentioning
Yeah.
it. So. Then page 12, we've got Sam Wilson, Captain America. So I don't remember seeing a Captain America book solicited this month, so this is probably our Captain America book. I do know that JMS is off after issue 16, so 16 is the last JMS issue. So here we're getting a Sam Wilson book, which should be on the shelves before the Captain America New World Order movie hits the screens in February, I think.
Oh, okay.
So, and they've got Red Hulk in the Cap book, so that's also smart on their part, since we know, spoiler, Red Hulk is going to be in Captain America New World Order. Anybody want to talk about anything not generically from 14 to 18?
No.
Okay.
I want to speak about Rogue, the Savage Land. So
Okay.
I'm not necessarily, I like the idea of Rogue and Magneto and Kazar in the Savage Land, and I love the cover, because you can't be in a jungle type book without having your uniform torn to shreds, and you just Rogue's, got Rogue and Magneto look like of course Kazar's already just in a loincloth, but I've been on a big kick reading science fiction, fantasy, and jungle books lately, so this is kind of up my alley for my recent reading, so I may have to get it just for that.
Yeah, and pages 14 to 18, we do have 3 new X-Men titles. We've got Magic, Rogue, and Cable. So that, ban on the time-traveling characters that was broken, I think, last month or month before last, is the floodgates have now opened for the time travelers. Page 19, Fantastic Four number 28, is giving us a prologue for a Doctor Doom story, which I wonder why Marvel thinks that a Doctor Doom story now might sell a couple of books. But so this is the prologue to One World Under Doom. So I guess that will be the story in FF starting at issue 29.
The cover's pretty cool.
I've got 23.
I don't have until 78.
Okay, so 23. I guess this is where JMS is going to be at. So we have what I'm assuming are going to be a series of one-shots, the first being Doctor Doom and Rocket Raccoon. So the little blurb is that JMS unites unlikely duos from all across the Marvel Universe. So what I am hoping this turns into is the Brave and the Bold run that J. Michael Straczynski did for DC, something comparable to that on the Marvel side, because some of those stories were outstanding. So I'm hoping he can work some magic with these little one-shots and give us some really, really interesting character interactions and combinations here without having to, resort to merging 2 characters and having, Dr. Raccoon or Rocket Doom or something like that. So something absurd. So yeah, give me some Brave and the Bold, and I'm picking these up. So 41 to 45, we've got a series of What If books, and this is basically what if Galactus had made certain characters his herald. So we have an issue for Hulk, we have an issue for Rogue, an issue for Moon Knight, an issue for Gambit, and an issue for Spider-Gwen. So fans of What If.
Man, that looks cool, yeah.
And that finishes Marvel for me, so.
Well, I was finished before I got started because all my notes were from last issue's catalog. But my live review only had, as you were talking, there was only one other one that I thought looked pretty cool, and that was the Amazing Spider-Man number 66 with the cover with Spidey and Black Cat, and it just makes me it's a callback to the Spider-Man Black Cat series by
Kevin Smith
and, and
the Dodsons.
The Dodsons, yeah. I really like that series, and this is kind of reminded me of that. But that's what happens. Since I didn't see this in advance, I couldn't remember the name of that. I couldn't remember Kevin Smith's name, so there it is.
Well, I'm happy to help. So. All right, so Shaad, I think it's all you for Marvel.
All right, I've got just one more book. Is Star Wars: A New Legacy #1. This is a one-shot that is just going to it's celebrating the last 10 years of Marvel Star Wars. We've had Marvel Star Wars books for 10 years now at this point. And so they're doing a little celebration one-shot with little stories kind of following up or touching base with the characters that have existed within the last 10 years of the main Star Wars titles. And we still don't really know where we're actually taking the main Star Wars titles after this. They've kind of been playing with these weekly Battle of Jakku stories, and then this seems to be maybe the bookend of those as well. So I'm very curious to see what the December Marvel catalog brings for Star Wars.
Yep.
So we ready to just kind of rapid fire over at Previews World?
I think so. I've got five things.
Okay. I've got, let's see, I think I have like 2. Well, let's start, I don't know, I guess they're already advertising for Free Comic Book Day for 2025. So there's that. We've already talked about Image, but I do want to ask, okay, so for Gems of the Month in Image, we have Lucky Devils #1. Thumbs up, thumbs down, Mike?
Which one was that again?
Lucky Devils.
Oh,
number 1.
I seen that in. Yeah, I give that a thumbs up. Yep.
Thumbs up.
Yep.
Okay, Shad.
I give thumbs up to the devil. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, I'm going thumbs down on Lucky Devils number 1. Seasons. Shad, you did mention seasons, so Diamond at least agrees with you. So
Yeah,
thumbs up, thumbs down, Shad.
Thumbs up.
I'll give it a thumbs up also. I'll give it a thumbs up. Mike.
Thumbs up as well.
Okay. Boom. Who wants to talk about something in Boom?
I've got.
Well, and
I will talk about something in Boom.
You got a boom?
Okay, so we've got. I got one boom. When I lay my vengeance upon thee, which may be the longest title that I will mention. It's a 5-issue series. We have a disgraced priest who is basically sent to apprentice with a controversial exorcist as some type of penance for whatever it is that he has done. So I don't know. It could be. It could have some interesting, religious undertones that I might be interested in reading that.
yeah, I had that.
It's also a gem of the month.
I
so
did
I'll
have
give it
that
a thumbs
tagged
up.
as well, and
All right.
I would say yes to it.
Okay, Shad, thumbs up, thumbs down.
Thumbs up. I like the how bad the artwork looks. Honestly,
Oh, yeah, it's
it's rough,
it's not
and
great.
I like it
You
because
are
of
correct.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Was anybody going to talk about Animal Pound?
I read the first couple of issues. I quit buying the single issues, but I think it was in anticipation of something coming out in a collected, a first volume, and I would definitely vote. I mean, this is Tom King, right? So,
Okay.
and it's basically the animals growing tired of being imprisoned. It's very anthropomorphic. It's they have human level intelligence, and I don't think anybody could write this as good as King can. So, but it's pretty disturbing from what I've read so far, and this collects issues 1 through 5. Definitely Orwellian.
I didn't realize. Yeah, I didn't realize that it was something that was already out. I just saw the gem of the month and mentioned it. I'm going to go thumbs down because I wasn't that interested in reading about it.
Yeah.
Shad, what about you?
I it'll take a long time for me to get to that one probably. So I'm gonna say thumbs down, just out of the fact that there's so many things ahead of it.
All right. Anybody have anything else from Boom?
Yeah, I've got a couple of things.
Okay, cool.
One of them being the Minor Arcana Volume 1. This is the first 5 issues of the ongoing Jeff Lemire book. We are going to be covering the first issue spoilers next episode, and I can't wait to get this and read it as a whole first volume. I love the first issue, but I actually haven't continued to read it. I think issue 2 is definitely out. Issue 3 may be out soon, but I'm really into this book, and of course all things Jeff Lemire typically, especially if he's doing double duty like this. And then my other Boom book is Jim Henson's The Dark Crystal Archive. This is a collected edition of the original issue 1 and 2 of the comic adaptation, and I feel like I don't typically buy this kind of thing, but I'm moving towards my collection being more trades and collections and less single issues, and this might be me getting rid of my single issues of the Dark Crystal and replacing it with this archive collection.
All right. Anybody have a book and Titan they want to talk about before I start talking about their gems of the month?
No, I don't have anything earmarked for it.
Okay, Shad, anything earmarked in Titan?
Not on my side.
Okay, so we've got the collected Will Eisner's John Law, who just looks like the Spirit without his mask.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to go thumbs down on it myself. I'm probably, some, old school purists will probably hate me for it, but yeah. Mike, what do you think?
Probably not. I mean, this is something I normally probably would be interested in, but I'm with you. I'm like, this is like a poor man's Spirit. And
Well, it's Will Eisner, though. He's allowed to do a poor man's Spirit since he was the Spirit guy.
you're defending the guy that you just thumbs down. So
I know. Well, that's true.
no, I'm still not going to get it. No.
Me neither. Shad?
Oh, no, I'm not into it. I was gonna really
okay.
play it up. Like I love this book. I'm into it hardcore, but no, not for me.
You couldn't even bring yourself to do that.
I couldn't even do it. No, couldn't even follow through with the joke.
But depending on when this came out originally, featuring original stories by Will Eisner and Gary Challoner's award-winning reboot from 2004.
2004.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a reboot, but who knows?
Yeah, it would. All I know is that I know that an old Golden Age, retroactively Golden Age hero named the Tarantula was named Jonathan Law. And if you ever read that James Robinson, Paul Smith 4-issue series back in the 90s called The Golden Age, he played a big role in it. And it was, that was a great series of books. But it just makes me wonder if anything was an inspiration for the other. But I'm not really sure. Okay.
Also, a gem of the month, we have Lenore: The Time War, issue number 1. Shaad, thumbs up, thumbs down?
You know what? I want to say thumbs up only because I kind of liked what it was about. I've never read Lenore, so I probably wouldn't get this book right away, but thumbs up Lenore. I'm into trying it out.
Okay. Mike, what about you?
That's a big negative.
Okay, I'm also going to go thumbs down. Now, what if I say they have a quote from Rosario Dawson that says, "I love Lenore"? Would that change either of your minds?
No, I'm still in because I love Rosario Dawson also. So
I love her too.
If she loves Lenore, I love Lenore.
Then you're bound to love Lenore as well. Yeah. So, all right.
That's what testimonials are for, right, Shaad?
That's right.
All right, we've already covered DC, Marvel. What about Dynamite? Anybody got anything from Dynamite?
Nope. I do. There was something called Silver Hawks. Is this something you had seen as well?
Well, it's just a toy line that was a comic book from Marvel many, many years ago.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Or was it Marvel? Maybe it wasn't Marvel. I think it was Marvel.
Well,
it doesn't matter. Go ahead.
It's a space setting, science fiction, and of course, everybody knows about the nearby galaxy of Limbo and their deadly mob boss, Monstar. He recently escaped from his confinement on Penal Planet 10. So he's looking to take revenge on everyone who put him there. So, I don't know. It just, aesthetically, it kind of caught my eye. It kind of had that Space Ghost feel to it for me. And I don't know. Can I ever explain why I pick some of these things? No, not really, but I did.
You see a pretty picture, and that's all you need.
It's like, right? It's a shiny object, yes. Squirrel, Squirrel,
yeah. So, this is also a gem of the month. So you're not alone, Mike.
Okay.
So you going to give it a thumbs up then?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Okay. Shaad?
No, I'm good.
No, yeah, I'm thumbs down in this as well. This is just a toy line. Comic book licensed property.
Coming from the big ROM Space Knight fan, you're saying just a toy line.
Here's the difference with ROM. Like, the toy line was a complete flop. They had more than one toy for Silverhawks.
Yeah.
Same way with Micronauts, but I like my retro toy lines. I guess I don't know. I'll just stop talking. Okay. Also, we have. I didn't like this toy line. How about that? There you go.
Okay.
We also have a gem of the month from Dynamite, Zootopia #1. I'll just go ahead and thumbs down this, and let you guys theoretically do the same. But what do you think?
I'm for it, but I don't want it. But make it.
Right.
But it's not for me.
Is that based on the movie?
Yeah.
Yes, on the animated. Yeah.
Well, I love that movie, but I don't know that I'd buy the comic. The whole sloth telling the joke.
Yeah, that's pretty
good.
That is like the best scene ever.
At the DMV.
Yeah.
Because he works at the DMV.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, But no, I wouldn't buy the book.
Okay. All right. Well, I only have one thing left. So, Shaad, how much you got left?
I got 3.
3? All right, why don't you go? How much you got left, Mike?
1, 2, 3.
3. All right, so you guys go first, and I'll do mine, then you guys do your last 2.
All right.
Go ahead, Shaad.
My next one is from Distillery. It's a book called Endeavor. This is the first issue of what I'm assuming will probably be 3, because that seems to be how they do things over there. It is for fans of Lord of the Flies and Yellow Jackets, which I'm a big fan of Yellow Jackets if you guys are watching that show. And it's about this tourism company that offers these luxury ship cruises. And somehow, some way, 7 children get stuck aboard this ship out at sea, and they have to survive, and it seems like there's some stuff that's going to go down. It's written by Stephanie Phillips with Mark Lamming and Lee Lowridge. Artwork seems pretty decent. I like the premise. This might be one that I would pick up and read from Distillery. Most of the time they're not grabbing me, but this one I was like, all right, yeah, you're right. I do like Yellow Jackets, so tell me more.
Well, what I have here is the George Paris Storyteller, the 35th Anniversary Edition. I have this, but it caught my eye in this catalog again. It's if you like any kind of reference book, especially about art, you can't go wrong with arguably in the top 5 best pencilers, best artists in comics, George Paris. And it's just so much eye candy there. It's got, everything from Teen Titans to Avengers to just everything he's worked on. And for $30, man, I think it's worth your while. High marks from me on that.
Well, I can't even find the one book that I was going to mention. So I have down from First Comics, we have Badger Mad Monkey Shock and Roll. So this is a new 5-issue series from Mike Barron. So Badger was a 90s, maybe even late 80s martial arts type character. I know Bill Reinhold did a lot of work on some of the earlier books. I don't know if he was all the way back on number 1 or not. I never really was a big fan of Badger, but he did have a fairly, 50, 60, 70 issue run during the 80s and 90s, so they are reintroducing the character back for 2020, I guess, 5.
Have you read some of the Badger stuff in the past?
I have read some, just hit or miss.
Yeah.
I could not tell you anything other than it's a martial arts book.
It's just one of those blind spots for me. Him or, Badger or, all of those like 80s and 90s. Which
like Concrete
Like
was.
Concrete, yeah. I want to have a reason to, try to read some of it. I like Nexus. I have read some of it, but only because I picked up some cheap back issues recently.
And now that I finished talking about it, I finally found it. So it's got Val Mayerick, who I think may have also been involved early on in the Badger character as well. So yeah.
Okay.
All right, Shaad, back to you.
My next one is from Dark Horse. It is a book called Let This One Be a Devil. And this is, I think, a mini-series. Doesn't say one shot, but is written by James Tynion IV, at least co-written by him with Steve Fox. And this is what appears to be a kind of historical origin of the Jersey Devil. He did a book a little while back called, I think it was called Little Blue Book or something like that, which was a kind of historical fiction on alien invasion, on alien sightings and stuff like that. And so this seems to be maybe kind of in that same realm. He's taken the historical, true stories and then kind of writing a narrative to it about the Jersey Devil. And I thought that would be kind of a neat book, being as though I like some cryptid stuff every once in a while.
Well, that blue book, that's one of the books I have for the roadshow lined up for somewhere in the future. Yeah,
nice.
Picked it up at a store in Dallas.
Okay.
Yep. I've got the obligatory back issue referral here, but it's the Hey Mister issue. Which, every time you think they maybe ran out of gimmicks for a topic, they come up with one that. They come up with a new one, and this one is basically a bunch of characters that start off, their title is Mr. Everything from Mr. A to Mr. Fantastic and Mr. Monster. And so, yeah, it's even Mr. Weatherby from Archie. So I think the cover basically has Mr. Freeze front and center, And yeah, it's a gimmick, but so what? It looks pretty cool. I had one more, but I think somehow we got out of order.
No, I think Shad's
Shad, you got one more?
also. Yep.
Okay.
Yes, I do. I forgot
Okay,
about. I
go ahead.
forgot. I forgot the order we were going into. My last one is Rock and Roll Biographies #3, which is the band Tool in color. So I think that this is actually a reprint because of the way that it's worded in there, and it's like now in color. But Tool being a very visually interesting band themselves, I hope that they do something cool with this. The cover looks pretty neat, and I would definitely read it and see. The black and white ones are just kind of, they're okay, and they just kind of go through the motions a lot of times with these rock and roll biographies. But hopefully they do something neat with this one. I'll probably pick it up and report back.
Cool. All right. My last one is, and I seem to remember talking about this at some point, but maybe not this issue, but I remember talking about Archie. There was, back years ago, there was a superhero called Captain Pureheart that was basically Archie as a superhero. Well, now they've got this Archie is Mr. Justice. And this particular 4-part event limited series, Mr. Justice is on the cover holding Veronica Lodge in the Crisis on Infinite Earths #7 fashion, except Veronica's not dead like Supergirl
Not
was.
dead, right.
But it's,
Spoilers.
yeah, sorry folks, yeah, but don't worry, she gets better. But yeah, it just, I love homage covers, and I'm gonna have to get this just for that. I think they know there are people like me out there when they make these covers. So
All right. Does anybody want to throw out an investment pick? I'll make it optional this time. Does anybody have an investment pick?
I flagged one. The Kill Train #1, just because I feel like it is bound to be a movie. Whether it'll be a good movie or not, I don't know. But if you like the idea of investing in comics that get turned into movies, Kill Train probably is one of those.
Mike, you want to throw something out?
I hate doing this. I'm so bad at this.
You don't. I made it optional. I made it optional. You don't have to.
Don't get peer pressured into it.
This is why I'm. I mean, I would probably go for as much as I don't like the idea. Aquaman #1, and he's got a new power. So, blah, take that.
Well, I'm gonna throw out New Champions #1 just because it's gonna be. I feel like it's gonna be like a Strange Academy book, which kind of had a nice little bump whenever it came out. Just because there were so many characters introduced, surely one of them will be a hit.
Surely.
So it's like if you throw 500 characters at the wall, will one stick?
Right.
So there you go. So all right. So anything you're looking forward to, Shad?
That Patchwork Girl of Oz is probably my favorite one. I just love a good Oz story.
Mike, what about you?
The Willie Nelson story.
You got a double dip on Aquaman?
No, the Willie Nelson story is. No, I'm kidding. I'm looking forward to DC Power, the whole return of the Power Company. I'm looking forward to that more than anything this month.
I hopefully I'm not setting myself up for a fall, but I have high hopes for that Doctor Doom and Rocket Raccoon.
Oh,
again,
yeah.
Just because I want that. Man, I love those J. Michael Straczynski Brave and the Bold stories, and I just want to see him do something like that with some Marvel.
But
characters.
would it kill them to just create a series and not have a string of a bunch of one shots? I mean, call it Marvel Tales or something like that. I mean.
Well, people wouldn't buy Marvel Tales because they know it's reprints.
Oh, well, you know what I mean. Yeah, I mean something that's.
But Marvel 2-in-1,
yeah,
Marvel Team Up,
yeah,
absolutely,
yeah, right.
You are correct. I would prefer, but I guess maybe this way he doesn't have to be on a schedule.
Sure.
So
yeah.
So okay, so Shad, what do we have coming up in episode 197?
Well, we are going to be covering the first 5 of Wonder Man. In celebration of the newly released kind of sizzle reel of the Wonder Man show coming out later next year, as well as the previously mentioned Minor Arcana issue 1.
Okay. And Mike, if somebody wanted to reach out to you, how could they go about doing that?
The variety of ways. One way is Mike at comicshoproadshow.com, or you can get a hold of me on X at Mike Atchison 5 or Blue Sky, which is also Mike's Comic Shop Roadshow. There's also our shared account of the Berg Comics email.
Podcast at birdcomics.com.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So lots of ways to get a hold of us.
All right. And Shaad, what about you?
You can get a hold of me through ShaadSchubert.com. That's ShaadSchubert, with links to all of my musical endeavors as well as the links to the show. And just doing a lot of creating right now, a lot of writing music and getting ready to do some recording.
And I'm Scott Reed. You can find me at burgcomics.com, BURGcomics.com, with links to my social media pages and eBay store. And we'll be back soon with episode 197.
Clickety clack. Right. Yeah, I have to remember to not unplug my headphones. Yeah, that tends to make them not work. It tends to stop sound recorder. It's the bigger problem. That's what happened to me that one time. I unplugged my headphones and plugged them back in, and that caused sound recorder to stop. Like, oh, did not know that would happen. I wonder how many times did you have to tell me to unmute today? I'm going to go with my over-under is going to be 2. So I'll be under 2. I'll be under 2. Okay, all right. I'd rather you tell me that than I think it's muted and me clear my throat. There's nothing that annoys me more than someone clearing their throat on a podcast, especially if it's me. Especially if it's you? Yeah. And I don't have any control over the editing. What are you saying? No, I'm just saying, if it's me on the road show, if I do, I cut it out, yeah. You'll go through and extract every throat clear there is.